What is up, guys, and welcome to another video on this channel, ChelseaCam's channel, the second video, in fact, on the channel. If you did miss my video with my reactions to Frank Lampard's departure yesterday, please do go check that out. It will be on the channel. I'm working on a logo and some other things, so the channel will actually look like it's like a normal YouTube channel, very, very soon, so just bear with me. With patience, I am in all black. That doesn't mean that I'm at a funeral or have been to a funeral. It doesn't mean anyone's died. I'm just wearing it, I guess, for the new manager for Chelsea. I mean, that doesn't really make sense, but still. Thomas Tuchel finally has been announced. It felt like because it's taking, I don't know what time it is now, Alexa. What's the time? Alexa, what's the time? It's 6:20 p.m. You see, I thought it was going to be announced yesterday, firstly, that's what we were told. Then I thought it would be announced at some point this morning. Then I thought it would be this afternoon. It felt like a bloody lifetime. You know, I've almost to the point where I thought we probably sacked him by the time we announced him, going by our record. But he has finally, he signed, he has signed a contract, whatever we call it, for 18 months with a possible extension on that. So basically, effectively 2 seasons, because he's joined midway through. It's not effectively 2 seasons, it's 1.5 seasons, but it's, yeah, you get my point. And that's it. That's an interesting contract length, and I'll get into it more as we go. I won't really, like I say, be talking much about Lampard in this video. Well, I will, because I'll be talking about the differences, but I'm not necessarily going to be romanticising over Frank Lampard and stuff. You know, the video yesterday is there. You know, I broke up today. Still upset for Lamp. Still upset with just the fact it didn't work. But you know, you have to focus now. You have to refocus. I've backed the manager in Tuchel. I probably pronounced it wrong. I feel like I've pronounced his name 5 different ways already, so there's no doubt that I've got it wrong. The problem is I just don't know which one's right. But the great thing about it, German manager, from the same breed, they say, as the Klopps, etc. A lot of similarities I've heard today to Guardiola. He's a tactician, mastermind, so to speak. Excuse me, my throat's gone, that's for sure. The tactics, that's what it's all about. I mean, that was one of the biggest criticisms, apparently, of Frank Lampard, that he didn't have any tactics, and at times we did look like we were a bit clueless. And almost Lampard's philosophy, I think, effectively was, you know, let the players go out and express themselves. It's fantastic in some ways, and is really, really good with talented players. But obviously, when you go on a bad run, it's difficult to then turn that round. And I think with Tuchel, you're going to get tactics. You're going to get players having to play in certain ways and knowing what their role and knowing what they need to do for the team, but also allowing that expression as well. You know, you look at the clubs he's managed prior, Borussia Dortmund and PSG. A lot of people talk about his temperament and the issues that he's had with the owners and the board, and that's not usually a good recipe with Chelsea. It's not, but at the same time, we have had very, what's the word? Those type of characters before at the football club. You look at Antonio Conte, and great, but Jose Mourinho as well. He's been another one. So I think that's effectively the question for me. I think Tuchel will be a success at Chelsea. I think he's a fantastic manager. You know, the way he plays, I think it's going to benefit players like Pulisic, players like Hudson-Odoi, Havertz, Werner. I think that they could be benefit here. I mean, there's talk about Jorginho. Jorginho could work in the new system. I'm not a massive lover of Jorginho, I must say, but then that has been in Lampard's team. He could be a whole different kettle of fish. And there's no doubt there's a top player that just hasn't worked currently in this current way that Chelsea have played, but that's all now going to change. So you would expect him to get the best out of Havertz and Werner. I mean, one of the big important factors for him as well, which I don't think is getting enough coverage, is the fact he talks fluent English, like really, really good English. German, I believe he talks French. Obviously he talks German, but I think he talks French as well. So that's really, really good, because we have, you know, obviously quite a multi-national side, obviously, as we know, but we have a lot of French players, we have a lot of German players, obviously new German players. And obviously the fact his English is good is also good. So it's a good mix in that sense. He's known as being very meticulous, very much to detail, and I do like managers like that. He trains hard, similar perhaps to Conte in that sense, which might concern some people, but at the same time, the mentality of these players is a problem. And this is good. This is the thing. Tuchel, on paper, he's got the pedigree. He was successful at PSG. You know, he's creative in the sense that he changes formations. He plays to the opposition effectively, and he changes his systems for the opposition, changes the way they play. You know, I reckon he'll play a 4-3-3 here, to be honest. But as in, that would be his sort of go-to thing. But I can't. I think that's the thing. The formation will look similar to Lampard, but it's not going to play the same to Lampard. But I wouldn't expect miracles at Wolves, because he's going to have, what, a day of training, if that. So Yeah, it's in my opinion, he's got the pedigree. He done well at Borussia Dortmund. There was so much talk about it. And I remember that he was very, very hot. Hot. But he was a hot property when he was at Dortmund. A lot of people talking about him. He obviously fell out of Dortmund. Then went to PSG, which was a bizarre move, many say, for his career. But he did a good job at PSG. He's got an incredible win percentage there, and he took them to the Champions League final. And one of the things about that PSG team, they've got a lot of attacking flair, they've got a lot of attacking talent, but it's just trying to fit it all in. And I feel like that's been an issue with Chelsea this year. You've been trying to fitting in the Ziyech's, the Havertz, the Werners, you're trying to fit all these players in, Hudson-Odoi, and you can't fit them all in at the same time. And I feel like that's something Tuchel will be able to do quite well, and be able to try and get the best out of the players and know how to use them in the correct systems, etc. And just hopefully tactically will be a little bit more bulletproof. And we should see that correlating in the bigger games against the bigger clubs and against the top sides, that we haven't done and fared so well with Lampard. We should see an improvement on that department, you would expect. We've got a nice run of fixtures for him to come into, which I think is important. Hopefully that will rebuild some confidence and give Tuchel some confidence and give him a time, especially with the cup game coming up against Barnsley, gives him a time to maybe try something a bit different out, try a few different players out. Which you usually wouldn't get the luxury of that in mid-season of a sort of FA Cup game against lower opposition for a new manager. So it's not often if you come in mid-season you're going to get that. We've got lucky that we've got Barnsley in the cup, so we can kind of try a few players. He doesn't just sort of have to basically try different players in the Premier League per se. So what it means there's talk about Antonio Rudiger coming up now and becoming the new centre-back. To be honest with you, I think he's so crap that if he plays 5 games, even if it's 5, 6 games, eventually Tuchel will take him out of the team because he'll realise he's absolute dog wank. So I've got no worries about that. Will his personality clash? Look, I see it going 2 ways. And this truth be told could be said for many, many managers in the past for Chelsea, and will probably be said countless times in the future. But I can see it going 1 or 2 ways. He gets good success to begin with, and then we sort of start to see things in the second, third season sort of fall apart, a bit like under Antonio Conte, and we follow that sort of a pattern. Or I can see him genuinely being a success for 3, 4, 5 seasons, like a Jose Mourinho did in perhaps his first. I'm not saying that level of a degree of success and like that sort of level of points, but a degree of success measurable at the time that we're in now. So in conclusion, I think he'll be a success at Chelsea. The question is how long that success lasts, which is the question that we've always said for managers with Chelsea for absolutely ages. So how long will we keep Tuchel before we decide to sack him and move on to a new project? I don't know. But if my gut had to say something, I think he'll bring us success. I can see him staying for maybe 3 seasons, which is a lot for Chelsea. But I hope he's a success. On paper, it is, in my opinion, quite smart, considering if you look at the way we are, the issues that are at the club, etc., the way the club's set up, the players that we've got, the new players we've got, it makes kind of sense. The biggest issue for me is I do wonder with these players, because they know, I don't know, the players have changed massively, but is there a sort of mentality with these Chelsea? Because I always feel like with Chelsea players the last 10 years, they are so willing to just drop tools, down tools. You must have heard the phrase before, commentators all the time, or the down tools for the manager. Are they down tools for now? There's different players of down tools for different managers, but are they doing it because, obviously they've got an issue with the manager, but I just wonder because of the way we sack managers here, there and everywhere, whether there's a mentality now at Chelsea with the players, no matter even if you sign for the club, that, if things aren't going right, it don't really matter, because in a few weeks' time, Abramovich will have chopped the manager and we'll have a new philosophy, a new regime, and bang, we repeat the process. So when we go through hard times, unlike other sides who stick with the manager and have to get out of that spell, our players aren't as willing or as likely to do it. It sounds like a conspiracy. It probably is, but it's just a theory that I've been thinking of. But in conclusion, Tuchel is here. I'll talk more about him in the Wolves game, probably more about maybe his tactics. It's anyone's guess what that Wolves 11 is going to be. I believe he'll be on the touchline, I assume so. I think he's starting a training session tonight. So I'll be interested to see what the team is. But tomorrow I will have that Wolves preview and then a Wolves match review. I'll predict the starting 11, of course. Well, I'll give you my prediction for the starting 11 in the preview, and obviously talk about Wolves, talk about Chelsea, talk about Tuchel. Lots to talk about. That will be on tomorrow's video. If you are new around here, though, please do subscribe. My social medias are in the description below. But that is it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like, leave your thoughts down in the comments below on the appointment of Thomas Tuchel. And do you think he'll be a success at Stamford Bridge, or do you think his fate will be similar to many's managers of Chelsea in the past. They come in, they do well, they win trophies, and then it all falls apart quite soon after that. We will have to wait and see. The one thing is, for sure, we have a top manager with top pedigree, and tactically, he is a mastermind. Fuck me, I got it all wrong. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. If you haven't enjoyed it, please like, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.